last thing I want to do is hit a brand new Volkswagen.
Turn right onto Stonewall Drive Northeast.
Germans would not be happy. So yeah, just delivered a forklift to this Volkswagen dealer, and the guy says put it in the back, and I'm saying, and I say, you mean near the service entrance? He says, yeah, in the back. I come here and the service entrance is right next to the main entrance, but I found this. He said, I call him again, so I said there's no back, it's, you know, everything is on one side. And he says, well, as long as it's out of the way, you know. Here's Country Hills Chrysler. That's where I bring my Dodge Durango and Jeep Compass for service. So just did oil change right on Durango and alignment. And the alignment was off, I was right. Like these guys just moved here, Ford. They were near East Side Dodge and they moved here. And they say, I remember talking to the sales guy, and he says, oh yeah, this is a much better location. He says first week they sold a lot of stuff, like, because there's so many dealers here, right? Okay, how do I get, I need to get to oh, okay. So yeah, my first trip was delivered a zero-turn scissor lift near Sandridge Mall. And came back empty. That was like probably 25 kilometers one way. And they're building a new, there's a new site here, and you know, I was thinking about this, like, because there's all brands are here. There's Toyota, Nissan, Hyundai, Ford, Volkswagen, Chrysler, and the only ones that are missing are either GM or Chevy, or I didn't see Kia over here, but all the big ones are here. And so I'm thinking, somebody bought this. Oh, actually, wait, it says Kia. Wow, there's a picture of the building and it says Kia. I knew it. So yeah, everybody's coming here because this is close to the airport. I don't know, close to Highway 2, right? So it's a great location, and so it's like, it's easy for people to shop, right? Because there's all brands are here. Yeah, I didn't want to go this way because there are gonna be traffic jams for sure. Before airport trail, but I forgot, you know, there was Barlow Trail there, but I don't think there's, you can get on eastbound airport trail, like there's limits there. Some streets have ramps in both east and west. I think Barlow, I forgot. So this is safer. This way, this is Highway 2 north, and then jump on 201 east. And it's getting hot. Actually, it's only plus 15 right now. See, an airplane is landing.
Take the exit, then keep right to merge onto Highway 201 East.
Ah,
Use the right lane to keep right.
interesting plane. You don't see often 4 engines, and it's not that big, but it has 2 engines on each side. Huh. Probably a private plane. Some rich guy decided he needs all the horsepower he can get. Yeah, so now I'm heading south to southern part of Calgary to pick up a scissor lift. I dropped off, I think, yesterday. And I dropped it off, and I had 3 stops. So first was drop off, and then 2 more were pickups. So I drop it off, and I'm heading to my next stop, the pickup. And my phone rings.
For about 26 kilometers, continue straight.
And it's my dispatcher. Says, go back to where you left the scissor lift. They were moving the machine and it got stuck. He says, they called him and they said, one wheel is in the air. It needs to be moved somehow. He says, go and see what you can do with your tow truck. And I had this one, the mighty Freightliner. So I started heading back. It was like 5 clicks, not far, but like annoying, you know. And then my phone rings again, and it's the guy who I delivered the scissor lift to, and he says, oh, it's okay, we were able to unblock it somehow. Like we don't need the tow truck anymore. Okay, so I stopped to send a message to my dispatch. I said, describe the situation. I said they don't need me anymore. I'm heading over to stop number 2. And I got a big thumbs up in reply. All right. And so yeah, this is my second trip. And it says ETA 917. And I mentioned this, usually we do 2 trips before lunch and 2 trips after lunch, and each trip can have multiple stops. So, but I got lucky. My first trip was only 1 stop, 1 delivery of the 0 turn, and then I returned empty. And this is my second trip, so 2 stops, right? 1 delivery and 1 pickup. And that's why, by the way, it can be really tiring to oh, check this out. More construction. This is kind of like my area, just I'm south of here. I see rock trucks moving dirt, so which means they're preparing land for the builders. See, there's an excavator over there. Actually a couple. So all this will be houses right up to the ring road. So this is north, this is south. So now I'm turning south. And usually at this time of the day here, just closer to Country Hills Boulevard, the traffic slows down really bad. And that's why I try to jump on 201 when I go south. I try to go on Airport Trail, because then Airport Trail becomes its own lane. Like you don't need to merge. Whereas here, there's traffic jams occur because there's a lot of cars coming in from Country Hills Boulevard, and it's only 2 lanes, so they have to merge, and so we have to stop. And that's where all the construction is. So, oh, that's what they're doing. They're getting rid of this big hill in here and making it level. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, holy moly, 4, 5 excavators, a bunch of backhoes, a roller, it never ends, this construction. And then further down in the middle, they started doing something. They brought a huge, you know, one of those pile driving machines that I used to move. Yeah, so these are the culprits. These guys, well, now actually it's not bad, but usually there's like a stream of cars with no gaps in between, and they fly in like 100 cars, you know, 200 cars, and we have nowhere to go. You see, like, you have to merge, and they always slow. Yeah, come on in. Welcome to 201. And I hate this 80 km/h speed. Like, they'll always do this whenever there's construction. And sometimes there's that camera car, you know, drive safe, will be sitting. I saw it actually here 2 days ago. Yeah, I'm not sure what the heck they're doing. Oh, I think they're building a new ramp. Ah, that's what they're doing. Like, they're building this so that from Airport Trail people can go this way. See, this is new. So there's a bunch of trucks, a rollers, scraper, and this thing over here. See this massive thing over there? It used to sit over here. I wonder how they brought it over there. Man, because it's so heavy. I don't know if that bridge can support it. Oh, and that's new. That will be a new ramp. I thought we had one over here. Oh, actually, yeah, from Airport Trail. So Airport Trail becomes this lane, and that's it. There was no ramps. You know, you cannot go south. You can only go this way. I mean, you cannot go north. You can only go south. That's what they're doing. And see, and this is where the traffic jams usually stop, because you get extra lane. So now we back to 100 km/h, 62.15 miles per hour. And this is the trail, rotary trail, runs parallel to this, where all those guys are walking. That's where I went for a bike ride. And this side is okay, because we are in the east part of Calgary. Like this, it's not very hilly, you know, good for my single speed bike. But this thing goes all around Calgary, this rotary trail, mostly next to this, to a 201. And west side, I was checking the trail out. You know, whenever I see that sign, there's like a post, and it's always brown. Whenever I see it over there in the west, I pay attention to the terrain, and I see that it's very hilly. But one of these days I'm thinking of trying it out, see how much I'd have to walk, you know, because yeah, if it's too steep, I'll have to dismount and just either walk or run towards the top. So the weather today is good, and it's getting darker and darker in the morning. So I bring this super nice light that you charge with a micro USB cable, like same as my iPhone, like Android, right? Same deal. Yeah, it's over here. There's a port, and this thing is pretty bright and helps, you know, like do the paperwork in the morning. So the sunrise used to be like at 5, you know, 4:30. Now it's around 7:15, 7:20. And we started at 6:45, so it's already dark. And you have to be able to do a pre-trip inspection, fill out the book, So we don't have logs because it's all local, right? But we have to do the pre-trip inspection, fill out the booklet. So we're coming up to 16th Avenue exit. Volvo semi is passing me on the right, probably heading to 16th Avenue.
In about 10 kilometers, take exit 88 onto Glenmore Trail.
Yeah, he took the ramp. Peterbilt cattle hauler. It's either 389 or 379. I could never tell the difference. Oh yeah, it's the old one, so probably 379. Flat top sleeper reminds me of my Mac. Actually, yeah, my mistake. It's not a cattle hauler, it's a grain hauler. 3 axles, Alberta plates. Nice LED lights. I'm taking the exit for Glenmore Trail. It's 6 clicks, 4 miles. Oh, lots of trucks on the other side. We have an oversized Escort. Holy moly, guy is moving a huge, wide something. You see that K-Whopper over there? Must be heavy because he has a Jeep, a bunch of axles on the back. Now I have to remember to make a cut in the video, then copy that spot about the truck, then paste, and then I can change the speed, the play speed on the second segment. So that guy was probably taking 3 lanes, and he had 2 Escorts, right? I think there were 2. And now, you know, I keep looking at these guys. There's a K-Whopper on the other side hauling. You see that? I see more and more when they do lumber, and that's lumber. It's all already pre-wrapped. And I remember thinking about this, you know, when I was doing flatbed, and of course, whenever you have dry lumber, it has to be tarped. Rain, snow, shine, doesn't matter. They always wanted it tarped. And I hated it, you know, because it's easy to get injured. Actually, once I fell down, because when they put these stacks, they're not exactly flat, right? There's gaps between them, you know, some are taller, some are shorter, and when you put your tarp on the top, of course you cannot see that, right? You cannot see through the tarp, and you have to walk, you know, on top there. Oh, look at this guy. So you have to walk on top. Oh, he has a winch. And I was walking on top and I fell probably like, I don't know, 3 feet, because one stack of lumber was shorter and I forgot there was a hole in there, you know. And it's a good thing that I didn't break anything, but it was, I got scared, you know, like you're walking, boom. And so I remember thinking, like, why they cannot do some kind of wrap at the factory, you know, like, because our tarps, they're always dirty, right? Because they're outside, so makes sense, right? So they're dirty on the outside, quite often on the inside. And so now I see they finally, 10 years later, shippers finally got the act together. And now more and more you see that people don't tarp. Like they have lumber, I see by the sign, you know, the sign on that wrap says something, and it's, I know it's lumber. So now the guys are lucky, you know, the guys that start now on a flatbed, man, they probably don't have to tarp as often as we had to. But back then, like, I don't know, the shippers were obsessed with tarps, you know. But I think it's also because now, you know, after I did that little stint as a freight broker, I realized, you know, how thin the margins are in trucking. And when you tarp, you charge shippers more, okay? And so freight brokers would kill for like 30, 50 bucks, 70 bucks, you know, sometimes that's all they make on a load, because of it's so competitive. And so if they can charge a little bit extra, you know, and so that's who I think the actual culprit was. That, because they don't care about drivers, right? Like, I remember I was picking up this like some huge pipe or something, I don't know, and in Texas it's like plus 41 and it's 11.5 feet tall, and oh yeah, it has to be tarped because it had, well, this one had gauges, you know, glassy things. So yeah, I understand that.
Take a slight right turn onto 68th Street Southeast.
And 11, you know, very tall, right? So nobody's helping except the forklift guy threw the tarps on the top. You go ahead. And plus 41.
Pass this light, then use the right lane to take a slight right turn onto 68th Street Southeast.
So it took me half a day to tarp it, you know. And thankfully there was a gas station within walking distance. And I went there a couple of times and I just got a jug of water, you know, like a gallon jug of water, and I finished it by the time I was done tarping. It was so bad, you know. And so you would see, I think once it was either me or I was talking to somebody, another trucker, and we were comparing notes and complaining about how they want everything tarped, and often it didn't make any sense, except now I understand that it's not the shippers, it's the carriers, the trucking companies, you know, they pushed the shippers, oh yeah, it needs to be tarped, you know, you want it tarped, we can tarp it for you, you know, 75 bucks.
In 2 kilometers, turn left onto 106th Avenue Southeast.
So yeah, I think it was me. I'm talking to this lady trucker and we're complaining about tarping, how they want everything tarped. And I remember I was telling her that, like, just met somebody at the truck stop, don't know their name, but we're just chatting, because she was also either she was pulling a flatbed or step deck. And I remember I had this load of posts. You know, sometimes you have like a cable on the side of the road where there's a ditch, right? And they would put these protective cables, and cables are mounted on poles, right? So in case, you know, somebody veers off the road, so that they don't go into the ditch, they would hit the cable. And so those posts, of course, they would be in the ground, sitting outside, And that's what I had. I had a load of these posts. And the shipper says, we want them tarped. No, not the shipper. My dispatcher says, make sure you tarp them. So you're kidding me, right? So that's just one example, you know, how they... But again, now I understand. So it has nothing to do with the actual load. It does not need to be tarped. It just... They want to make money. And then another scenario was when I worked for... Who did I work for? Yeah, again, I had a step deck. My own step deck. We would often go to this aluminum plant in Brampton, and they would load these they call them logs, you know, like looks like a post, but it's like all aluminum, you know, solid metal, and they are probably 20 feet long, maybe that's this much wide, like just under a foot wide, so pretty heavy. And they would give you, I don't know, 12 14 logs, I don't remember. That would be like on top of each other, you know, like one row, and then they put another one. I think I had like 3 rows, so they were pretty easy to tarp, but it's aluminum, right? And so I bring it over, and I remember the guy telling me, the guy who was unloading me, the forklift guy, somehow we got talking about this logs, and he says, we take off the outside layer, you know, to get rid of all impurities. And I'm like, wait, what? So you don't use the entire thing, so you have to file it down, take off like, you know, a few millimeters. And I said, wait, then why do we need to tarp, you know, if you don't use that outside layer anyway? And he says, and this guy made my day, you know, I was laughing so hard. He says, well,
in 500 meters, turn right onto 74th Street Southeast.
He says, technically you do not need to tarp this in dry weather, like in the summer. We only want it to be tarped in winter because there's salt, you know, all this shit on the road, right? But he says, we know truckers, so if we tell you guys not only to tarp it in
Turn
winter,
right onto 74th Street Southeast.
you will not tarp it at all. And that's why we're telling you tarp it all the time. But you know, it takes a lot of time, right? Like takes extra couple of hours. Okay, the driver gets paid a little bit, right?
In 400 meters,
I forgot what they paid us. 30 bucks, 40 bucks, something, but I hated the thing, you know? So anyway, coming to my spot over here. That's where I dropped the machine the other day. Somewhere here on the left. So it's the bottom of Calgary, and we're close somewhere to we close to 201. All right, I dropped it somewhere over here. Oh, I see it over there. Oh, blue machine.
turn left. Then the destination is on your left.
I hope they left the key somewhere there. But it's super tight over here. What is this? And that's what happens, you know. So it's all covered in some shit. And they were making notes here. Holy moly. Quite often I pick up this and it's like a bunch of nails and screws, you know, like when they work at the ceiling, they just leave everything. But sometimes we find some trophies, you know, like once I even found, you know, like what do you call that thing? Like you tie yourself down to the platform, you know, like some fancy wrench, you know, some screwdrivers. So of course I give them to dispatch in case they call. So these guys said that they got stuck somewhere here. Oh, I know where it is. Because I unloaded in the same spot and I put it over there in the corner, and I see there's a hole there. Yeah, where the manhole cover is. Yeah, so they probably got stuck over here because the machine was parked. I parked it in the corner. Yeah, because these have sensors on all wheels. Shut up. Wait. What's wrong with you? Maybe it's not fully down. See, why is it driving like this? Huh. See? What's going on? I thought the power was okay. No, it's not gonna. I was thinking of turning it around, but instead I'm just gonna winch it up. I don't have time for this. Why is it so slow? All right, at least the front wheels are on the deck, so I just need to drag it a couple of feet. No big deal. Well, the machine is on the deck, so I winched it up a little bit, and when the platform was level, I was able to move it. It was driving okay, not beeping, but like was going very slow. And I brought my keys with me, so I have keys to all pretty much makes and models, except I don't think I have a key for, yeah, Toyota forklift. But like John Deere, Bobcat, Genie. So I wasn't sure if they left the key, so I took this so that I don't have to walk back. But this is really a stupid setup over here. You cannot go around the building. I actually drove over there and it's a dead end. There's a dock in there, so you cannot go around. And it's not enough room there to turn around for a big truck like this, because there's cars parked all alongside the curb over there. And so I just walked the machine. And when I tie it down, I was always having trouble reading the clock, you know, that shows how many hours the machine has, because I was always doing it after I'm done tying it down. I would kneel, because that screen is on the side of the machine. I would kneel and look like at this kind of like weird angle, and the sun, the light reflects. It's super hard to read those, you know, it's like an LED, right, that shows you the hours. But recently, once I forgot to do it. And I didn't want to climb on the top, and so I thought I would try to read it from the bottom. Oh, actually, yeah, the machine was still on. You know, in order for you to see the that clock, the machine must be on, and so that the red button, normally when I load it, right, I hit the red button to kill it. But I think the red button was on, so the machine was on, and I was on the ground, and I look at that screen from the ground, you know, straight on, because it's pretty much at my eye level, and everything became crystal clear, you know. Turns out it was because I was looking at an angle, and when I was on the deck kneeling in very super awkward position. So now I never check the hours when I'm on the deck. Only when I'm finished tying it down, I leave the red button up, so the machine is still on, the light is still flashing. And when I'm down on the ground, I walk to the side where the LED is, and I can easily read it. And so now when I went to look,
Turn left onto 106th Avenue Southeast.
right above the clock line, the hour line, it says low voltage. Low voltage. And that's why the machine
Turn right.
and that's why the machine was beeping. So sometimes it beeps, you know, like these can be so freaking tricky, you know, especially when I started with them a long time ago, back in like 1999, 2000, when I drove a tow truck. Quite often we would have these, we would move these.
Turn right onto 68th Street Southeast.
And so what happens sometimes, let's say if you don't notice that the machine is slightly up, because of course the whole point of the scissor lift is you go up, right, to work at the height. And so sometimes once what happened is it was slightly up.
1.8 kilometers. Turn right onto Glenmore Trail Southeast.
So basically whoever you know used it, they did not lower it all the way, and then they drove it, and so I did not notice there was like maybe 3 inches up, you know. But it drives, and then it starts beeping because there was a tilt, and when the platform is up, that's kind of like a safety feature. It will start beeping like crazy when the sensors think that you're gonna tip over, you know. So when the platform is fully down, it does not do that because the risk is minimum, right? But when you're working on the height, let's say you are up, you know, 10, 15, 20 feet in the air, the machine really starts panicking when there's uneven ground. Yeah, I shouldn't pass him in the middle of the intersection, but the guy's driving 3 miles per hour. Parminder trucking. And so yeah, that's one case when you can get into you can run into an issue when it's up and you did not notice it, right? And then of course low voltage. And the thing I had to learn, like people were laughing at me because I forgot about this when I started working for this company.
Next line. Turn right.
I know I have to pull the red button, right, to turn the machine on. Okay, the light starts flashing. And then I went to do something, let's say disconnect the charging cable in the back. I come back, climb on the top, pull the trigger, and it's not moving. It's not doing anything. I try this, I try that. Finally one guy tells me the big secret, that this thing goes to sleep, you know, to preserve power, pretty much after like, I don't know, 15-20 seconds, right? And so you have to push that green button for movement, because there's like 2 buttons there,
Turn right onto Glenmore Trail Southeast.
kind of like a mode selector. You push one button to go up and down, and you push the other button just to drive. And so you have to push that drive button if the machine does not respond.
Stay in the left 2 lanes.
I mean, they're tricky, I'm telling you. Like each wheel has a sensor.
In 1.2 kilometers, turn left to merge onto Highway 201 North.
So it's not gonna work very well on dirt, for example, because it likes flat surface, you know. And I always check messages in case they want me to, like especially when I have space on the deck. So my dispatch would not call, but they would message me, hey, pick this one up as well. And they would send me a picture,
Use the left lane to merge onto Highway 201.
the picture of the paperwork for the machine. So I can increase the size, I can read it, I can write down the address and the guy's phone number or the gal's phone number. And and then when I come to the office, I fill out the original paperwork that he took a picture of, and I have to write down, let's say if it's a pickup, I have to write down time and
Turn left.
date when I picked it up, and let's say if it's a scissor lift, I check if there was there a key and no key, because sometimes people lose keys or they don't leave them or we cannot find them. So key, manual, never had actually once in what is it, over 2 years I've been working there. One machine was returned without a manual, because there's always a manual in the, like there's like a black plastic box and there's a manual there. So once they stole the manual. Well, they probably took it to read and forgot to put it back, but so I have to check key, check manual, check, and then time and date when I picked it up, and hours. What are the hours on the clock? Or let's say if it's a excavator or something, I have to check fuel. How much fuel is left, because they charge them if the machine is not filled up. I think sometimes they charge them, sometimes they prepay or something, but I have to write down how much fuel is left. So yeah, lots of paperwork actually.
For about 26 kilometers, continue straight.
So now we're heading north, back on the same 201. And the whole plan was to do a short video. So the plan is working, because of course we can always edit the length. Or what I can do is when I work on this in my iMovie, I can speed it up. I can speed up the entire sequence, so it'll play, let's say 1.5 or 2 times speed. And unfortunately it's not the lunchtime yet. It says I'll be at the shop at 10:11, which means they'll give me something else. But then after the next one, for sure, I'm taking my 30-minute break. Oh, by the way, yesterday I delivered some scaffolding in a pickup truck, and my second stop was scaffolding, to pick up scaffolding, right? Somewhere in this area. And I look at it, didn't pay much attention. I see frames, you know, decks, okay. 7-foot decks, not 10. So 7, I say, okay, that should not be a problem. And then I show up there, and it's like a warehouse, and the guy shows me where the scaffolding is. It's all inside. And there's a bunch of stuff. Like 12 decks. You know, even though they're 7-footers, but 12 decks. A whole bunch of braces, and not just blue frames 5x5, but also the yellow smaller frames. Baker, bunch of safety posts, bunch of wheels, casters, you know. So I marked the time, and then of course the way they stacked it. Oh look, a guy is moving what is it, scraper, no, grader. And the way they stacked it, I had to take half of it apart, because they had braces on top of decks, which means that I would have to load braces first. I cannot do that. Braces go on the top. Basically, the way they were set up on the floor, it's how I want it in my truck, right? But so I had to put braces on the ground, then load the decks, and then the frames. On top of the 5x5 frames, there were half frames, which are 5x3. And of course, those I want to load the big frames. So I had to take these 6 half frames off to get to the large frames. And the same with other stuff, like everything was on top of each other. So it took me like probably 10 minutes to prepare this stuff for loading, you know. And from start to finish, I marked my time. It took 48 minutes to load this stuff. And it's like plus 28. And there's nobody around, so I took my pants off because I have shorts underneath. I took my, eventually I took my t-shirt off because I was sweating like a pig. Man, it was hard. And I came back. I went inside to ask them what they want me to do with scaffolding. And a guy hands me a piece of paper and it says pickup. And I'm like, wait, what pickup? I have scaffolding there. What do you want me to do with it? And the main dispatcher comes back from lunch and he says, don't worry about it. Leave scaffolding in the truck, in the pickup truck. Jump into the Freightliner and go to this. It's a pickup. And it was Chinook Mall. And it's like 3:15, 3:20 in the afternoon. So it's pretty far. Well, not that far, maybe 25 clicks, you know, 15 miles. And they said it's parked on the northwest corner of this huge shopping center near Boston Pizza. Alright, so I find Boston Pizza Chinook Center in Google. And Google thinks I'm driving for pizza. And I go there. The guy was not answering when I called him, just to find out where exactly the machine is and where did he put the key. But I arrive there, I find Boston Pizza, and I see a blue machine, same as this one, same size, and it's parked outside. Found the key, loaded the machine, and I was back in the shop at I think, what was it, like 4:20, like 4:15, 4:20. And I knew that this would be my last load, and so I took the scissor off, parked the truck, went in, handed the paperwork, hang up the keys in the office, and clocked out. I have to, you know, in the morning I have to clock in, and at the end of the shift I clock out, so that they know how many hours I work. So yeah, this next paycheck should be good, because these not this one, probably the next one, because my next pay is on 15th in 3 days. So yeah, whatever I'm doing now, it's already going towards the next paycheck. But this past week was pretty busy, and I was staying up, you know, past 4, which means overtime, which means 1.5 factor pay. But I wonder how big my this paycheck will be. So I'm a little bit behind on my bills, and I didn't do any Uber yesterday. Actually, I started the Uber from work, and I said, give me passengers going towards my destination. And I said, I want to be home in an hour, in 5:30. You know, and sometimes they give you rides that will take you closer to your home, but nothing, not a single offer, either from Lyft or Uber. And so I just went home. I went home and I worked on my Durango, cleaned up the mess I made with the paint chips, rock chips, sorry. Used some sandpaper to file them down, these little hills, you know, where I put the paint and it was a bit too much over the chip. And then use some wax, some polish, so the car looks way better than before. When there was I probably have like 10-15 rock chips on the front. I don't know where these guys are driving, you know, probably following somebody else on a dirt road real close. Like, that's it. That's my story of the day, and I stick to it. On, I came over. Back home. Worked very long day today, and I discovered something I really enjoy: veggie burgers. The pack looks like this: Nanak plant-based veggie burgers, because now the focus is on beer and pescatarian diet. Pesca means fish, tarian means vegetarian, so basically it's vegetarian plus seafood. And unfortunately I ran out of mayo, and of course you need a little bit of Calgary made vodka. So we have spinach, tomatoes, cucumbers and peppers, and that's the secret. Okay, how's our bread over there? Oh, okay, it's pretty good. Don't wanna over toast it, one got broken. Alright, so we take, see, normally I would put some mayo on top, but now we'll just do this. We'll do a couple of leaves of spinach, maybe, you know, like this, and put this on top. Maybe a couple of cucumbers and potato. And that's a burger. Veggie burger, high in protein. So this pack has 6 burgers. Oops. 6 burgers, and it costs $10. And they're super duper tasty.